Welcome, my name is Lauren and I'm a tutor at NoteFull.com. So this week, what we're going to be doing is looking at writing. And of course, this is work that we took directly from NoteFull forums based off of a task that we presented to students last week. And a lot of great submissions were put onto the forum this week. So what I'm going to do is actually something a little bit unique. I'm not just going to be focusing on one essay today. I'm going to be focusing on a few. I'm not going to go into too much depth in any of them, but the reason for this is because I want to show you guys what a range of level of ability means, right? And how to sort of examine different types of essays that students write for the TOEFL and how this might score, right? And what this may mean for your level of ability as far as the graders are concerned, right? So what we're going to do is go ahead first and look at the task. Especially for those of you who have not visited the forum this week, you'll be able to see the task for the first time right now. Let's get started. Okay, so the question for this week is, if you were going to visit a friend or family member out of town, would you prefer to stay at the hotel or at their home? Use details and examples to support your explanation. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so we're going to break down our word count first, but I just wanted to remind you guys, remember NoteFull strategies. For those of you who don't know, we teach that students write a 4-paragraph essay. And this may be a little unusual to some test takers and to some essay writers, right? Typically the most common format that's taught in schools and so on is a 5-paragraph essay. However, we teach a 4-paragraph essay. There's nothing wrong with that. So we definitely encourage you to move in that direction too. Also, for word count, we recommend 400 to 500 words. Okay, so that's just something to help you really shoot for a strong word count level. Yes, it's different from what the TOEFL outlines in the instructions, but we're asking you to push it even further, right? Because remember that students who write 300 words and earn a top score, they're going to need to have really perfect grammar, really perfect spelling, perfect mechanics, perfect clarity, a wide range of vocabulary, right? And they may not even be able to hit a 30 if they're only writing 300 words. So just keep that in mind. This is here to help you achieve the highest results possible. To break down each paragraph, this is something that's not really a rule of thumb. It's not something you're going to find in a textbook, but it's something that I just developed here today because I felt that it would be useful for you guys to see what ideal means in terms of how we chunk the actual essay into word count, right? So we have an introduction, which we should approximately write 80 to 90 words, all right? And this is going to include the template that NoteFull teaches. So if you're not familiar with that, you may want to go ahead and register for one of the writing programs or go ahead and use our free course to start familiarizing yourself with these things. The second thing, of course, is the body paragraph, and we have 2 of them. So we're going to approximately stay within the same range here. We're going to have about 150 to 200 words. Now, this is the important part, but I'm going to come back to that. So hold on to that thought. What I want to do now is go to the conclusion, which should be at about 50 to 60 words, okay? And this is going to be really fast, really short, doesn't need to be elaborate. And we just want to kind of reiterate some of the main points, right? Now, getting back to the body paragraph, or body paragraphs. These are the most important paragraphs in your essay. And so what I'm going to do now is feature a few body paragraphs that were submitted in a full essay this week to show you what successful body paragraphs are in terms of word count and how the word count can affect the different ranges of word counts that students use. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so this first paragraph that I wanted you to see is at a word count of 124. So we know from the previous slide that this is going to be a little bit too low. So what does this mean for the overall results, right? This student I think has a pretty good range of vocabulary. You're showing some specific details, right? You're definitely going into some specifics. You're telling me what you like to do. You're telling me a little bit generally where you are when you're doing these things. But I think that we need definitely a little bit more elaboration. And so where would we need that elaboration? I think when you say things like my sister's town, that's a little bit too vague, right? Get that detail in there. Where are we actually talking about? Also, I see that you're saying it was the worst trip ever, and then later it was the best trip ever. So instead of just kind of giving these sort of adjectives to the experience, which will kind of shut you down, right, if that's where you end it, start to go into the specifics of why it was the best or why it was the worst, right? That's going to help you really show that you have a wide range of vocabulary. So with this particular student, there's a little bit of a difference, right? You see that this student has written 345 words for one body paragraph. Now, not only is that impressive, that's actually the length of some students' full essays, right? So we can see how long that is, right? It gives us some perspective. When I look at this particular paragraph, I see a couple of things, and I want to discourage you guys from trying to shoot for this model for this specific reason. When I look through this particular paragraph, I see a lot of errors, right? The student maybe didn't even realize that he or she was making them, but if you take a look at this very closely, if you pause the video and you go ahead and look at some of the vocabulary here, you're going to notice that there are several vocabulary words that are misspelled, some letters dropped off here or there, a lot of typos, and not to mention some grammatical errors as well. So go ahead and double check this. You're going to see that sometimes when you try to shoot your word count up, just to shoot the word count up, you're going to have a lot of errors. And that's something that we want to avoid too. So remember, higher word count does not mean higher scores. So this paragraph I want us to highlight as our final paragraph today because it's 195 words, which is ideal, right? Remember that frame I gave you, 150 to about 200. That's where our body paragraphs want to be. Now, this particular student uses a lot of good details, right? You can see the names of places. You can see specific events. This student is identifying things that happened, why these things were important, what was good about it, what was bad about it, how he felt. A lot of little details that were really, really good in contributing to a very well-developed paragraph. And the word count demonstrates that. Now, this paragraph and this student has a bit of a difficulty grammatically. I see some fragments, which means that the student will chop the sentences in places where he or she should not. A couple of grammatical errors too. Okay, so just to review, too few words can equal language use and topic development problems. Remember, that doesn't mean that we can't develop our paragraph. It just means we may need to work at it. The second one is too high. When our word count is too high, this may impact your clarity, your mechanics, your spelling, things like that. And again, that's something that's going to bring the score down. So don't try to fight against it by typing as fast as you can, as many words as you can, because that's also going to have a negative impact. Keep it short and sweet. Keep it 150 to 200. I know some of you are probably thinking that's not short and sweet. In any case, let's try to shoot for that range. It's a really strong range to be in, and we also want to make sure that we're clear and strong. So again, if you have any questions about that, let us know. Okay, so this was our video for this week. I hope it was really helpful. If you have any further questions about the 3 paragraphs we examined today, or if you are one of the students who submitted these works and you have further questions, of course, be sure to write in. If your student work wasn't featured here today, please be sure to check back next week. We're going to have a new set of tasks. Well, they should be posted as of today, right? So when you're watching this video, you may go ahead and take a look using the link below to access the new task for next week. So, good luck. Any questions, let us know. See you next time.